Hi, recently I joined a project and I have very interesting experience. It will present how the technology is shifting. Uh, Things we were doing last year, they are no longer valid, basically. So I will talk about 2 points. Uh, First, the technology they are using and why they're using it. How did they shift and why? That's one part. The other part is about me and onboarding on that project because this is very interesting part. So uh, first about the technology, they used to have Java application. It's very simple project. You have a UI using Angular and backend using Java. They have a monorepo, everything on one repo. Backend is Spring Boot, Java. Very regular project. The interesting part is the shift. So they have decided we are going to move to Lambda. And they did it in a very, I will say, smooth way. They did not just rebuild the whole project from scratch, a greenfield project, but they slowly start to move the services from the back end to Lambda. And so far they succeeded. It's a very good approach. I like actually to take things on stages. It's much way far better than moving everything at once. I had other experience where we just build a greenfield project and it's basically, I will call it a failure. It has been out of schedule, totally out of schedule, and things are not going as the investors wish, I would say. But that's a different topic. The interesting part is moving from Java to Golang. Um, they have Lambda in the new project, in the new architecture, and they use Golang on this new architecture. I have not used Golang on other projects. I just small things here and there, but not really an experience. I can't call it an experience. But this is my first kind of experience. I write Golang and deliver something using Golang. And when I ask about the reason why we are shifting from Java to Golang, why we don't use Node.js on Lambda, all those questions, the explanation was Golang is much easier, much faster. And I said, okay, fine, sounds interesting. Um, I did not know that Golang is really fast, way faster than Java. They told me that we used to have a report. It was generated on Java in around the 10 minutes, and then it dropped with Golang. It dropped to 2 minutes only. That's a huge improvement. That drop around fifth of the time which was using before. When I start to write Golang again, I found it's really easy to learn and easy to use, make a lot of sense. I don't think it will scale. Like if you have a really one repo, obviously we have Lambda, small projects, small applications. But I think if you move to work on a huge project, maybe it will not scale well. I'm not sure though, because the feature I saw that they are not using a lot of concepts we use on other programming languages. They are based on, I will say, kind of a new concepts. Like you have modules, you don't really have object oriented on it. Yes, you free to assign variables without data type, but they are again static. Like they are mixing everything. I mean the Golang team mixing everything and putting it on one programming language. So I had other, I will say, interviews, not exactly experience, but guys were moving from from Golang to Java. They said that Java is much way far better. I'm not sure what was the point of view they have, but they explained to me that it's not scalable. That's the word I have here, that it's not scalable. But I don't know exactly. When somebody say it's not scalable, might mean that the operation, cannot scale the operation. We can't hire people. People come and check the code. They cannot edit the code or debug the code, and so on, so on. So maybe they mean that, or they mean that it's not like scalable in time. Like we have a lot of requests and it's not able to handle it. But when I jumped this new project, I think they mean that scalability on operation side, not on the performance side. I see Golang is doing well so far. When I try to test, I wrote a code using Golang, and I wrote that same code with Java to compare, and I found like Golang is faster than Java. That's a fact. Maybe if you use even threading, it will be much faster. Even writing a code using threading in Golang is very easy, much easier than Java. So very interesting experience. Later maybe I will share what I discovered, but so far it's easy to learn. Performance is good. It is also like compiling, but we don't have kind of a Java type of virtual machine. It's more of a C, like you compile for a specific operating system, which is a bit annoying. I don't like it. I prefer something like Java, but that's better for optimizing the runtime package. It's better to mention, okay, I'm targeting this specific operating system. Me, I don't like it just because you need to do extra steps so that you say, okay, personally I'm in Mac, so I need to package on Mac and run, and then maybe the deployment is in Linux. We are deploying on Lambda, so you have to target another operating system so that you be able to test. It's a bit annoying process, but okay, fine. No big deal here. Yes. After all, it's not like JavaScript. I like JavaScript because it's way much faster. Write code and just compile it and then push. Way faster to write code on JavaScript. Yeah, but it sounds interesting. Those are the main things which I have catch up so far. Another thing I would like to talk about is, and that's a huge change, is the onboarding. That's a really huge change. When I joined the project, as I mentioned, I did not have the experience about Golang. So I need to have somehow, some way to learn Golang quickly and be productive. And the thing which I did is basically very quickly go through the documentation, and I start to use Chatgpt. It is extremely helpful. I did not have a lot of information about Golang, but I do have experience how programming languages works. Like I do know that we need to know how to make a loop, how to make switching statements, how to make if statement, how to do assignment for variables, object-oriented. I know all those stuff, so I start to question ChatGPT about those information to know them on Golang, and I start to write some code. I start to write some snippets, and then I ask ChatGPT what are they doing. I start to copy from existing code in the project. I ask ChatGPT what is it doing. Give me more information, and I really learned so quickly. Like 3 days, I already delivered my first ticket when I know nothing. You might ask, okay, 3 days, maybe it's a reasonable time. My answer will be is that, okay, I joined a lot of projects. This is not the first time I pass through such situation where I don't know the technology, and then I have to learn it and then just start to deliver. It's not my first time. I had passed through that situation many times. The difference is I took maybe around 1 week, 2 weeks, and I really work hard. I remember when I learned Angular, I have taken a course of 50 hours to learn Angular and start to deliver something with Angular. And Obviously, I had to work overtime, overload myself so that I can finish the learning as soon as possible. I start to deliver. Uh, I haven't spent that all time, that huge time to deliver when I have ChatGPT. That's a huge shift in technology. Imagine if somebody who's just a junior and he know basics about programming languages and he can literally start to work on any task. Uh, so and again the productivity for individuals, like I can literally remove half of my capacity just by having ChatGPT. Why? Because now ChatGPT can at least give us snaps like we can use very quickly. You don't have really to search much about the code and you can deliver. So imagine how productive one developer will be comparing to what we have in the past when we don't have before ChatGPT world. uh, so that's a very amazing change on the technology. I have been in this field for long, and if you ask me, is this going to impact? I see it will make a huge impact. I can feel it. And not only on that task, but other tasks. Like there is a task, I just copied the snap and added on ChatGPT. It was I supposed to do documentation for the code. I just asked him for add documentation, and then he just go on and he provide for me documentation for the code. And I go through the documentation, it is valid. You just need to spend the time to validate the results, to improve the results. Ask him how you can improve the code, ask him how to optimize the code. Just a chat, it's like you are asking one of your colleagues, he's expert. Obviously, it has mistakes. Sometimes I found the results is not valid. But if you compare it to the benefit, it's way far override the mistakes ChatGPT do. I think it's a huge shift, and I can see also there is a move again toward generating like more tools like ChatGPT. Obviously, ChatGPT is the winner. I have tried the other tools. ChatGPT is the winner. But I believe, like when we start with ChatGPT, obviously, like as you see, like Google trying to come up with their own tools, and other companies as well, you will find more of ChatGPT. And imagine if we have a version of ChatGPT which is way far better. ChatGPT is learning by time, becoming more smart. Imagine the future, how is it going to be? Like those mistakes cannot be avoided, but they can be downgraded. Like you can feel if you go to something like BERT, like same questions I asked to BERT and I asked ChatGPT. No, ChatGPT is way far smarter. And imagine if we have smarter tool than ChatGPT. It's going to make a huge shift, very huge shift in several dimensions, and it will impact the services industry so much, which is one of them is software engineering, obviously. Those are this is a very, by the way, also I see the change in Golang, by the way, like besides ChatGPT, I see also, I don't know what happened make companies move more toward Golang. The big companies, they are slowly moving out of Java and switching to Golang. I see that move, but they are not aggressive. Companies are not so aggressive to move to Golang, but I see a move to switch to Golang and try to replace Java with Golang. Not so aggressive, but I see that move. If you ask me, I will say Java is a great tool. It is harder to learn, but it's very scalable. Not sure if Golang can replace Java. Maybe even the serverless world, yeah, might be the case. but if you are building a monorepo or you are building a huge projects on a repo, might not be the case. I hope this video is useful. We'll meet you next time. Thank you.